Storyteller, Mama P, Story Purse, and Marion and Esposito is all wrapped around the placement of Mercury in the zodiac sign of Leo. Mercury and Leo people are simple. They make it to the point. They're great storytellers and they look at the big picture to just generalize what it means if you have Mercury and Leo. Now, what's interesting is that not a whole lot of astrologers talk about it because Mercury is exalted in Aquarius, the sign opposite to that is Leo, which is in its fall position, but there really is no information that I have read about that being the case. So I guess that Mercury in Leo is a very strong placement to have, a very good placement to have where you're very creative and very entertaining when it comes to your speech. And so that's just a little bit of the story of what this is about. And so I'm going to be discussing Mercury in the zodiac sign of Leo in the birth chart in this video. So if you're interested, please stay tuned and stick around because I'm going to really discuss a whole lot of very valuable information in this video that you might find of benefit to you. So now, delving into Mercury, the planet of communication and thought, in the sign of Leo, the sign of confidence, the sign of courage, and all those kind of things, is the very, very first thing to note is that your communication is very creative. You talk in a creative way. You're great at using your imagination. You're great at embellishing things. You also speak from the heart. You also speak with that confidence which comes from your heart. That's where you speak to. Um, your communication is very passionate. You're very passionate about the points that you want to make and the things that you want to say, and you're also very warm-hearted in terms of your communication. Now, at the low level, this can turn to being arrogant. You're being very arrogant. You're being very full of yourself, thinking that you know better. I'm thinking that your opinion is the only right one. And self-centeredness. That's the downside of this placement. And so you express yourself in a very big and bold kind of way. That's how you communicate. You want to intellectually put on a show for friends and family. You are very, very good and you genuinely find great pleasure in inspiring wits in another, of making people laugh, of making people really turn on and engage with what you have to say to where it tickles their funny bone. So you want to put on a show with this placement. You want to make everything a show, make everything a performance. You're very theatrical when it comes to your speech. People may be drawn to you because of your charisma when it comes to your communication of such strong charisma and way of speaking, a very outward, very social, very outgoing personality that others are drawn to in that way. If you should go about the route of talking about yourself and expressing yourself, those people will, the right people for you will open up, receive, and support you when it comes to what you desire, what you need, what you want. But it's about being discerning about the types of people where you feel like you can take up more space, not less, to the other people where you have to restrict yourself and turn in on yourself and be very um, stoic, whatever the term may be, limiting yourself, putting a filter on yourself. Open up and find your tribe, which is very, very important that you find a like-minded tribe of people who really get you, understand you, support you emotionally and intellectually. So you have no problem expressing yourself. You have absolutely no problem expressing yourself when it comes to communication. You are very generous with your communication, meaning that you talk a lot. You make big statements. You talk very in depth. Have very big sentences. And you speak with a generosity of spirit, wanting to give, wanting to inspire, wanting to support, possibly wanting to serve with your communication, that helps others, that uplifts others. So that's what I mean by generosity of communication. You want to come back to yourself and reach out to your friends and family. This is what it's all about for you, is is expressing yourself to your friends and family unapologetically. People do and will appreciate the love that you give back to them. That's their stand-up endpoint. So when you can really show your stuff and others appreciate you, which you are giving and they are giving back, that's you can find a lot of harmony in your life. You can be very magnetic individually, on and intellectually. Your communication is very magnetic, where you can really strut your magnanimity to others, whatever the term may be. You project energy outward as opposed to inward, so that you're more outward, you're more outgoing, you're more extroverted rather than introverted. And you communicate with a lot of enthusiasm. You communicate with a lot of excitement and fascination and wonder. And you communicate in a very upbeat, very delightful way. You can be a great leader. You have the potential to really lead people to victory, take charge, speak the truth, be the intellectual leader. Now, the sort of downside with this placement is you're not good at taking criticism well. Constructive criticism is not your wheelhouse, or you take it well. You want praise. If it's not praise, then just forget about it. You don't want people to criticize your work, and your ego can get very shattered and bruised um, because of those who criticize you and do all of those types of things. But it's very important that as much as you can, you open up to the criticism and you see the person has good intentions. You see that the person wants to help you, wants the best for you, um, and that they care about you through that way. And so when you can see through the eyes of love, then that is where you find some fulfillment in this life. You're very confident in your abilities, possibly overconfident. Your ego is at the center front of your life. Your ego really, really gets involved with your communications very easily, very naturally. You make your intellectual decisions and you speak from your heart. So you make the decisions that you want to make intellectually, but then you follow your heart. You do what your heart wants. You wear your heart in your sleeve. You trust your heart and its calling. You want to be real and you're all about being in the present moment. Leo is one of the signs that is very present moment oriented, second to Aries and then Taurus. But Leo is very much about seizing the moment. Taurus is more about security and enjoying the pleasure of the moment. But Leo is all about being big and shining bright and really making the most of the moment that is possible for you to make. Really, the maximum level that you can take advantage of the moment is ruled by Leo energy. So you're very present moment oriented. You are not the type to say something and go, "Oh, I want to go back. I, I want to say this again. Wait, I didn't say that correctly." No, you move on, you say something, it's there, and you just keep moving forward. You don't apologize for it, you don't go back and fix it. That is your way of speech. Your will is very, very strong. That's a very, very big thing with displacement is that you have a very, very strong will, very strong commitment to what you want to say and what you want to put out there intellectually. It's a very, very good idea for you to stay incredibly focused on everything that you want and everything that you desire. So focusing on that because your strong will and your willpower, where you put your will into things, can make you very stubborn, very focused, very committed, very fixed, because Leo is a fixed sign, to the things that you want, desire in your life. So you have an astounding ability to concentrate, which gives you energy and willpower. You you have a lot of energy and willpower. Mercury in Leo, as I've sort of said before, is not very detail oriented. They don't prefer to get bogged down in the nitty gritty details of things, the little small details. They prefer to paint in broad strokes. They prefer the big picture of things, the forest for the trees, the bigger outlook on things. That's their wheelhouse. So their opinions are very fixed. Once they make up their mind, once they have an opinion, it's very, very hard for them to change their opinion. It takes a really, really good argument and a lot of convincing, like a lot of convincing them to change their opinions because they can be opinionated. They go after their plans and projects with confidence. They live to be in the spotlight. That is really, um, you know, what they are, all about, making the most of the spotlight, shining in the spotlight. You speak it, and you're right, because Mercury is all forms of communication, speaking and writing. You do this in a very fun and engaging kind of way. That's really where you shine, is your communication. You can do it very with pleasure, with interest and devotion into what you want to communicate. You can make a very good storyteller because you're very creative. You can make up stories. You can imagine things very well. You may not be the best listener. That's another downside of this placement because you can talk over people. You can be self-centered, only focus on yourself instead of putting the focus on others. So where that is not working out for you is where you need to get your priorities straight and reevaluate the balance between talking about yourself versus listening and being open to the experience and ideas of others in your life. You may have difficulty accepting opinions and viewpoints which are different or foreign to your own. So being open-minded, being accepting, being unconditionally open-minded, open-hearted, to where it can get that extreme to to the opinions of others. And so they have their opinions with this placement and they don't change them easily, as I've said before. Um, they're very headstrong, they stand very firmly in their opinions. Um, you're very childlike. Leo is a very childlike sign and energy. So you're very threatened. When you feel threatened or when you're under high stress, you tend to act out in a very childlike way. You speak with excitement. You're very persuasive. You can really turn on your gift of the gab, your persuasion. You can really persuade and convince people to get on your side. You're really good at marketing and selling people and doing all those things because you can tap into the part of them that wants to go buy the thing, do the thing that you're persuading them to do. So you're very, very good at that. So you care a lot about how others see you and perceive you. That is a really, really big thing. As Leos are all about their image, all about being so concerned with others validating them, being so concerned with how others see them, perceive them, and feel about them. You're very warm and charismatic. Um, You enjoy creative challenges, creative problem solving. You can come up with a lot of innovative, new solutions that are out of the box, that are very creative, as I said before. So you think and speak in a very optimistic and enthusiastic kind of way. So you want to be recognized and admired for your intellectual accomplishments. You may be very flamboyant, you may be very strong, and dominant in your personality. Your communication is very energetic. Now, keep in mind that Mercury is either in the sign before the sign the sun is in, the sign that the sun is in, or the sign after. So if you have this placement, you're a Cancer, Leo, or Virgo. You're one of those signs if you have this placement. Um, so you're very dynamic, you're very playful, you're very entertaining in your communication, you're very talkative, as I said before. You talk with full confidence. When you have ideas, when you have things that pop into your head, you don't just let them float on by and ignore them. You act on them, you manifest them. You want to try them out and experiment with them. You want to actually embody those ideas. It's very important that you do not act on impulse with your ideas. That before you act upon them, before you commit to them wholeheartedly, you really think things through very carefully before you do that. You really have to think about it before you act on it, weighing out your options very well. You love it when others recognize your accomplishments. You have a lot of creativity, you have original insights. You can also be very artistic with this placement as well. That was redundant. Um, and you're into music. You can be very, very good at music. Anything creative, painting, music, dancing, whatever it is. You may be drawn to visual arts as well. So those are the insights that I have to give on Mercury in Leo in the birth chart. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so that you do not miss any future upload videos from me. Have a wonderful rest of your day, morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, whatever your time zone that you're living on is. And I will see you in my next video, which will be the weekly astrology video for the week of August 24th through the let's see, August 24th for the 30th, I believe. Yeah, August 24th through 30th. So tune in for that video that's going to be released in a couple of days. A lot's going to go on that week if you're watching this on the day that's getting published. We have the Sun square Uranus, we have Venus making all kinds of aspects to the outer planets. So tune in for that video in a couple of days for that to come out. But if you're watching this at a later time, then it's not going to really matter what I just said there. This is a timeless video. The weekly astrology videos are for specific points in time, and they are about what is going on currently. So, anyway, hope that you enjoyed this. Bye for now.